Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is quite a bulky card, which is why I've created a box to gift it in. Now today we'll be making the card, but if you're interested in making the box for it, you can find a link at the top right of the screen to the video that shows you how. This box will hold any normal sized A2 or A6 card. For this card, I used the Happiness Abounds stamp set together with the coordinating Blossoming Happiness dies, and I've also used papers from the Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper pack. And I've created a fancy fold display card that's also a gift card holder. The message will be written on the tag. I've kept the back completely plain. Now if you don't want to use it as a gift card holder, you could add a second tag in there instead and either decorate it or write an additional message. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. I'll be using Night of Navy card for the card base and also the pop-out section. I'll be working on the pop-out section first of all. Ideally, this needs to be 12 inches by 4 inches, and you want to score it at 3-inch intervals, so 3 inches, 6 inches and 9 inches. However, if you haven't got 12-inch card or you don't want to use it, you can still create the pop-out by cutting into your normal size cardstock. One piece needs to be 6.5 inches by 4 inches and the other 6 inches by 4 inches. Place the biggest piece into the Simply Score board with the longest side across the top and score at 3 inches and 6 inches, and score the other piece at 3 inches. I'll be joining the two pieces together by means of the 1/2-inch tab that we created on the largest piece, and I'm just taking a slanted cut from the top and bottom edge of that 1/2-inch section. Now I can fold on all the score lines and burnish them with a bone folder. The centre score line in each piece is a valley fold, and the 1/2-inch tab fold is a mountain fold. You'll have a choice here of whether to put the 1/2-inch tab on the front of your card, it will then be covered by the layers, or leave it on the back so it will then show. I don't like my tab to show if I can help it, so I'm going to add it to the front. But to be honest, it makes no difference. It's just personal preference, what you prefer. So my tab will be hooked over the second piece. And that's what I did with my original card. You don't even notice it when the card is finished. If you look closely, you can just see the tab at the top and bottom edges, but it's certainly nothing to worry about. Whether you're making this out of one piece of 12-inch cardstock or two pieces, as I am, you now need to shape the top corners. So I'm going to measure down from the right-hand top corner, first of all, 1.5 inches and make a mark. And this is about 4 centimetres. And then on the left hand side, again 1.5 inches or 4 centimetres. I prefer to use a guillotine, but you can just as easily use a trimmer for this. Now I'm going to cut from the mark to the top of the centre score line. So I'm lining up those points with the cutting blade on the guillotine and making the cut. Then I'll just repeat that for the other side. I'm going to flip both pieces onto the reverse side, and then I can add glue to the 1/2-inch tab and place the other section on top of it to join them together. So my tab is on the right side. I can now add all the decorative mats to this pop-out section. I have 4 pieces of the Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper and 4 cardstock mats in Granny Apple Green. Now 2 of the panels will not need to be cut, the centre panels, but I do need to cut the side panels to fit. I'm going to start with the Granny Apple Green card mat. Now you want to place this onto the panel so there's an even border on the 3 sides, so the 2 side sections and the bottom section, and then just mark where you need to cut. I'm actually marking the front even though there's a B there, so I don't get the 2 panels mixed up. I'm going to repeat that for the other side, so I'm ensuring my border on the 3 sides is even, and then I'm marking with a pencil where I need to cut, and that will give me a 4th border of the same depth as the other 3. As before, I can then bring in my guillotine and just make the 2 cuts. You want to check them up against the pop-out panel and adjust them if necessary. And now for the paper mats. You want to place the paper panel onto the Granny Apple Green cardstock panel that you've already cut. Make sure those 3 borders are even, and then mark where you will need to cut. I can then repeat this for the other side. These panels can now be layered together and added to the pop-out section. Normally I would use a tag topper punch to create my tag, but all of ours have now retired and I haven't any other tag dies or punches. So I'm going to hand cut my tag. The grid paper I'm using is in 1/2 centimetre squares. Now I'm going to mark my Granny Apple Green layer on the top edge 1 centimetre in from each side, and also on the side edges 1 centimetre down. If you use inches, just mark it at a 1/2 inch. And then I'll repeat that for my white layer, which is slightly smaller than the Granny Apple Green. I'm going to use scissors this time to cut between the marks on each piece, and then I'll just check that the layers look good together. If not, I can adjust them still, but don't worry about it too much because no one's going to notice if it's not perfect. I also want to mark the position for the hole on the white layer. So this needs to be halfway across the top edge and just a little bit down, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch or so, half a centimetre. And I'll remove the pencil marks I made on the corners. I'm not going to layer these together yet because I want to stamp the white layer. This is the Happiness Abounds stamp set. Today I'm using most of the images and 2 of the sentiments, the happy birthday and the wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. I'm going to start by stamping with basic grey ink, and I'm going to add the smaller cluster of flowers to the top and the bottom of the tag. The large flower I just need to stamp 1 of, and then the main flower for my card I need to stamp 3. The little flower with the stem I need to stamp 4. For the leaves I need 6 of the main leaves, 2 for each of the main flowers, and then 3 sets of the other leaves. And then 1 of the larger cluster of flowers and 2 of the smaller ones. The sentiments will both be stamped using Night of Navy ink. This one is out of shot when I stamp it, I apologise for that. The second one needs to be stamped with enough room around it so I can die cut it. The sentiments will be die cut using some of the stylish shapes dies. This square one, which is the middle size for the wishing you all happiness sentiment, and the smaller of the longer banners for the happy birthday sentiment. Everything else can be die cut using the blossoming happiness dies. There's an outline die for each of the images in the stamp set. I'm going to use the smaller hole punch on my crocodile to punch the hole in the tag. This is an 1/8 of an inch, but you can use any hole punch you have. And then I have a small length of our Fresh Freesia open weave ribbon. I've folded it in half to create a loop and threaded the loop through the hole, opened it up and threaded the ends through before pulling it tight. And I'll probably trim this back more later on. Once the square sentiment's been die cut, I can add the small cluster of flowers image in the bottom right corner and the top left corner. Again, this is using basic grey ink. I coloured it in exactly the same way as you saw me earlier. Everything has now been die cut. I've added dimensionals onto the back of the large yellow flower, both the sentiments, all the main flowers, the leaves that are going to be glued flat. 2 of the smaller yellow flowers will also be glued flat. Now onto the remaining 2 yellow flowers and the 3 cluster flowers, I've added dimensionals just at the top part. The bottom part will be glued flat. So when this is on the card, it will add shape and dimension. I've gone ahead and die cut a basic white circle, and to do this I used another of the stylish shape dies, and it's the largest circle die. My card base is in Night of Navy. Now this measures the same as a normal standard card, but it's in 2 halves, so I have a front piece and a back piece instead of them being normally joined together. Then I have 3 mats of the same size of Granny Apple Green, 2 for inside the card and 1 for the front. And then I have 3 mats of the Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper, 2 for inside the card and 1 for the front of the card. I can now add the pop-out panel to my card base. Now I'm going to position each of the side pieces so that I've got an even border on the sides and the bottom. I'm not worried about the top. If you used 8.5 inch by 11 inch as your standard card, you might be able to centre it more and have a more even border all the way around, but I'm an A4 user and this is how I prefer to do it. Before you add your glue, make sure you've got your pop-out panel the right way round and it's folded correctly. Then I'm going to use wet adhesive and I'm just applying it to the 3 edges, right at the edge. So along the side edges and the bottom edge. Remember, the tag and the gift card have to slot in the top, so you don't want glue there, and you don't want glue all over because they won't fit. Now if you've got some strong 1/8 of an inch tape adhesive, that will work as well, but I like the wet glue because you've got wiggle room time, so I can play with it before the glue sets and get it exactly where I want it. Now I'm making sure my borders look even, and then I'll give it a press down and leave it for a minute to dry so it's nice and secure. I can now add glue to the other side. Again, I'm applying it right on the edge. And then I'll take the other piece with the designer series paper inwards, line it up exactly with my front piece and press it together. I found this is the best way of positioning the second side. Now before the glue dries, I can just look at the border and make sure I'm completely happy. There's still time to slide it around a little bit if I need to, and then I can give it a good press down. I can now add the gift card and add the tag. These are all the pieces I need to make the arrangement for the front of my card. And that's my card complete. It's quite simple really to create. The colouring just takes most of the time. So you've got your gift card and your tag where you'll write your message. And again, I'll probably trim that down a bit more just before I gift it. We'll tuck it out of the way for now. It's a very pretty card and unusual, which is what I like. And here's another look at my original card. Now, the colours I used here are exactly the same as the one you've just seen me create, apart from the melon mambo. I used that instead of the fresh freesia. The baker's twine is some of the thick, solid baker's twine that's now retired. I just unravelled the ends. I quite like that look. I think I like the Melon Mambo one best because I like the bright colours, but if you like subtle colours, you may like the Fresh Freesia one. And because the card is quite bulky with all the layers, I created the box. And I've also created one for my new card. Remember, the link to the video for this is in the top right of the screen under the eye. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.